All right, guys, I'm here with my business partner, James. James, what's up, man?
Hey, it's good to be here. It's been a while, but I'm excited to reflect on some of the things that we've been learning and going through.
We got to do this a little more often. Well, in this episode, let's dive into what coronavirus has been like and how it's impacted our small business startup in coffee. Sound good?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into it.
All right, well, to get you guys caught up, we're going to go through kind of what's happened over the past couple of months, especially what has happened during the coronavirus. I'm here with my business partner in Singapore, James, and I'm stuck in the US because of COVID. James, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, things are good. We just got out of our lockdown here in Singapore, so we feel a bit more free now. So it's been nice.
And how has coronavirus impacted things over there in terms of investments and future markets and stuff?
Personal investments, I'm not too sure, mainly because I don't invest in the Singapore market right now. But I mean, we do have our coffee business that we've been trying to work around the Singapore lockdown measures. So that's been taking a hit because we haven't been able to go out and meet people.
I mean, let's dive into it. I mean, we we started this business back in the summer. We set it up, and then in October 2019, we did a little tour, right, around Southeast Asia. Very little tour. We hit up some roasteries in Singapore, and then also went to Kuala Lumpur and Bangkok just to explore the market because we knew we were going to have beans into the Singapore market and try to get those ready for export. And things all changed when coronavirus happened, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even though we started this company back last summer, we didn't actually get our beans into Singapore until late February. And really, that's when the whole COVID-19, all the news started popping up. Countries started closing their borders. So it proved to be a difficult time to really run the business, especially since this business is a person-to-person type of business, and dealing with selling an actual product.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely been rough. Like, we've tried to email people and we've tried to make those connections because we didn't already have these relationships. It's made it hard, it's made it hard to get our emails through. They get caught in spam filters. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge that we're having to deal with right now, because neither you and we are both not digital marketing or media marketing people, and so one thing about starting this and doing this is we're learning it all by ourselves and trying to navigate all the challenges that we're facing. Fortunately, we love challenges and we're trying to get over these things, but it has taken some time. And honestly, if we knew someone who could do these things for us, or if we already had the experience, we could probably take care of these things easily. But it has been a good learning experience so far, and I feel like this is just going to prepare us for something else down the line.
Yeah, definitely. I think, that's really true where we're picking up these skills and whether we use them in this business to their full potential or not, I think that we probably will use them down the road in something else, if not this.
Right, for sure. Um, like most big companies, like they have dedicated people for these specific jobs that we're faced with. And being a small startup, we're having to do everything from operations to marketing to anything that's involved in the business. So it has been challenging, but it's been very interesting actually.
Yeah, it has been. And we're by no means coffee experts either.
Yeah,
So it's
no,
like we're just kind of dabbling in all of this. I mean, yes, we're entrepreneurs, but there are functions of this that we aren't experts in, and maybe someone with a little more expertise than us could really catapult us forward.
yeah. But just kind of step back a little bit, not talking about coffee, but just talking about starting business in general. Again, the whole idea is that I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to start a business, and
Sure.
we've experienced that. It's just we face challenges, and we have to be determined to tackle these challenges one at a time and move forward. I think as long as we have that motivation, we can do that. And anybody who's listening to this, if they want to start a business, I think it's just a matter of looking at challenges step by step and moving forward and taking one thing at a time. And you guys can be very successful. I mean, I don't wouldn't say that we're successful yet, but so far it's been not smooth, but we are moving forward. We're progressing. We're
Yeah,
growing.
we're not successes yet, but we're not failures either, right?
Yeah, not yet.
So one of the interesting things that I've found is, and this kind of goes to what you're saying is, going step by step, but also we've learned that sometimes things are not step by step. It's not necessarily in a linear fashion. And that is something that we've had to really, really be aware of, right? Like, when we're doing our real estate stuff, the first deal we did was so slow because we didn't realize that A, B, and C didn't have to be done in that order. And sometimes A, B, and C can be done all at the same time, or at least you can be working on those three things all at the same time. It doesn't have to be done in a linear way. And if you do things always in a linear way, you might be going too slowly. So that's something that we learned with real estate, and then we became aware of it with the coffee thing. And I think we've started to not do that as much, right?
Yeah. And I mean, as for coffee, going back to the challenges of COVID, not being able to go out and meet people and not being able to really sell to our market, we're really having to think about how we're trying to expand into the rest of Southeast Asia. We do have some contact in Indonesia currently and Penang or Malaysia, Penang, Malaysia, but it's just a matter of like getting them interested and just making those contacts with them. But what we're working on now is we're trying to work on what does export look like. Even though we haven't even sold a bag of beans in Singapore, we're already having to look forward to perhaps exporting to other countries in the region.
Yeah, and the couple challenges that I see, obviously, you're not able to go out and meet up with people, and we're not able to host a cupping, for example. And a cupping, for those that don't really understand coffee very well, it's similar to a wine tasting in that there's going to be several different types of coffee that are going to be available, and you basically sample them. You just try a little bit. You don't have like cup after cup because that's what makes your eyes pop, and you get overly caffeinated. But no, you just try it. You see what the different flavor profile is like, and then buyers, if it's a buyer and not just like a public event, buyers will know what types of coffees they want to purchase from the different green coffee sourcers or importers, whatever that business is that's trying to sell the green coffee. Yeah, they'll know if they want to buy that coffee from them. So that's been a challenge, not being able to have these public events. But then also on the buyer side, I think our buyers are kind of hitting the pause button because they don't know. They might have to pivot their business. They might have to become a more digital platform, or we're probably going to see a fair amount of cafes that go out of business because they haven't pivoted in the right way. They haven't been able to meet their customers' needs, or they were too cafe heavy, and now that people couldn't go in to their cafe, they are out of business.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing that. Yeah, many of the cafes that we visited here, a lot of them have tried to start up some type of e-commerce to try to sell their equipment or their roasted beans online. And I'm sure that hasn't been super easy for them. But the big ones have done it, and they're doing okay. Now that we're in phase two in Singapore, cafes have opened up this past week. We're allowed to go in. But another challenge is that the numbers are lower because of seating arrangements, because of social distancing, safe distancing. We can't have that many people in a cafe anymore. So I'm sure that that type of traffic hurts the cafes. So they're still constantly have to, even though we're in phase two, they're having to innovate and think of new ways to sell their coffee. And we will have to do that as well. I mean, because we haven't fully set in our processes, I feel like this is kind of a good opportunity for us to, I mean, in a sense, pivot our business, even though we haven't even set our foot fully firm on certain processes yet. So maybe this is a good thing for us.
Yeah, it could very well be. I mean, we've talked about how, in every business there comes a disruptor that changes the paradigm of the business, and we've seen that the specialty coffee market, and I think coffee in general, is quite a traditional business. It's very relationship based, and the buying practices are very relationship based, and we love that. We love that aspect of it, but we also realize that people, in terms of consumerism, their buying habits are becoming a bit different, and that could end up leaking into the B2B market, whereby the purchaser will want to start purchasing things the way they would purchase it as a consumer, which means that there's going to be less, face-to-face interaction, and there's going to be more of a need to just go to someone's website, click on the thing that you want. In the case of coffee, maybe order samples, order the sample beans, try it, and then purchase it without ever having to talk to the person that you're actually buying it from, which is really, really different than what currently happens in the coffee space.
Right. And so that's a one challenge that we've been thinking about is, maybe we should be investing money into a website. But the problem is we are not B2C, we're not business to customer. And usually in the business to business realm of coffee, it's just meetup. Everything's still done on paper mostly. There's a physical transaction like cash or a check, sometimes a bank transfer. So with COVID, this is beginning to change, and maybe we need to move into that as well. But again, that's why it's good we're talking about this now, and we're still trying to figure things out now because we haven't fully set our feet in the traditional way of doing business with coffee, and COVID happened, so it allows us the flexibility to make those moves now because we haven't fully committed to the other processes yet.
How do you feel about where the business is in terms of its kind of financial stability? How much longer do you think that we can survive what's going on with coronavirus?
Yeah, so those are good points because right now we're burning a little bit of cash. We have probably 2.5 tons of coffee stored in a Singapore warehouse currently, and each month there is a fee for that. A good thing is it's not a lot. We're talking about a couple $100 a month, and so as long as we can try to sell the coffee sooner than later, we'll be okay. But seeing how things have progressed in the last 5 months, and we haven't been able to move much of anything, and seeing how there's uncertainty in how the coffee industry will respond to COVID in terms of business to business transactions, I'm not really sure how much money we'll be needing in the future, but I don't think it's a whole lot yet. We don't have a physical space that we're renting. We definitely don't have employees we're paying. And for both of us, this is more of a side hustle, something that we're trying to get started here. So looking at terms of financial stability, I think we could be okay for a little while, considering the savings I have and the money that we have together. I don't think we'll need to raise any funds anytime soon. And again, for coffee, we know that the lifespan of a storage of green coffee is around 2 to 3 years. And our harvest season for the coffee is currently in warehouse, our 2019. So we should be good all of this year and possibly next year. But then again, that's another challenge because most coffee buyers are looking for the freshest and newest crop, even though it can last up to 2 to 3 years. They don't want coffee that old, and so that proves to be another challenge. But the coffee's still good, and I don't know. I think we can last throughout this year, but our goal is to get all that coffee sold within the next 3 to 4 months.
Sweet. Well, I hope we do, obviously. This is a funny one because we went into this as an investment, right? It was going to be a very straightforward investment in terms of investing in coffee as a kind of a commodity. Obviously, the specialty market, it's not quite a commodity market. It's not like trading futures of a certain commodity. But we decided to go into this, and we saw an opportunity to be doing what our parent company was doing in Istanbul, doing it in Southeast Asia. And it required us to step away from being just pure investors and then become business owners. Personally, I believe I underestimated just how much of an investment time-wise it was going to be, and just like mental space, if you will. Like there's a lot of mental real estate that this has taken up. Have you found the same?
Yeah, absolutely. I think because we're constantly thinking of ways of how to sell this coffee, but we have to think about sales, which we're both not hard. We're educators by training, and then we're having to think about all these things that are time wise, how long the coffee will last, who do we sell it to, all these different contacts, how do we run a website, how do we run email marketing, and these things take mental capacity.
Yeah.
And it takes countless conversations. I feel like we minimum talk 2 or 3 times a week. I feel like just trying to brainstorm ideas and trying to get things rolling here. But
Not
it
that we
does
don't
take a lot
like
of time.
talking to each other.
No. Yeah. But and if I didn't have a business partner like you, Josh, to do this on my own, I would find that very difficult, unless I was already in the industry and I had other people to talk to. But we are brand new to this, and we are going at it all new. So
Yeah, I feel the same in terms of having that partnership. I think it would be infinitely more difficult to be going at this alone. One of the things is accountability, right? You don't have that accountability. You don't have that push when you know or you think you know that your partner's working and doing something or doing more, that gives you that push to do more and meet their energy and effort levels. So I've definitely felt that pressure, that positive pressure, that is necessary, right? That you stress, not de-stress or distress, but that you stress, that positive stress that is needed really to catapult or to push forward a business, an idea, whatever it is. And you've definitely been that for me. Our conversations are catalysts for that type of stuff. So if you guys are interested in starting a business, I know that there are a lot of people out there that would recommend a sole proprietorship and doing it on your own, but I think there's a lot of value in having a partner. And it's not so that both of you can lose your money together. It's about being able to have someone hold you accountable, to be able to push you, and they're not even pushing you directly. It's just knowing that they're there is a push. And that kind of allows me to segue into another thing that has pushed us, which is our mastermind. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Expat Investors. We really appreciate it. James, really appreciate your partnership with me, not just on this vodcast, but also just in life and with business and everything.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you reaching out, and it's fun to reflect on our learning process, and hopefully you guys who are listening or watching can also learn something from this as well.
If you guys would, if you enjoy this type of stuff, give it a like. And like we said, we are really, really committed to answering your questions, and we have received some, not enough, but we have received some questions from you guys out there. So if you have any questions for us, leave it in the comment section. We'll get to it. We're really, really open about sharing our successes and failures, especially the failures, because that's how we've learned.
Yeah.
That's how we've ended up going 2-3 steps beyond after taking that one step back.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have all the answers, but we will share what we know, and hopefully you can glean something from that.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Be blessed. See ya.
Yeah.